Every single one of us has faced moments where the odds felt stacked against us. Moments when the voice in our head whispered, "Not today, you're too tired, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes." And in those moments, we're given a choice. Do we accept that voice and let the excuse win? Or do we dig deep and remind ourselves that there is no excuse for not trying? Life doesn't care about how many reasons you have. Life doesn't care about your excuses. Life responds only to effort. And effort is something every single one of us can give, no matter where we come from, no matter what we've been through, no matter what's standing in front of us. Trying is not about guarantees, it's about courage. The courage to step into the arena even when you don't know how it'll end. When you try, you grow. When you try, you discover a strength you didn't know you had. When you try, you learn, you fail, you adapt, and you come back stronger. Every champion you've ever admired, every hero you've ever looked up to, they didn't get there because everything was perfect. They got there because they refused to let excuses take the driver's seat. They showed up again and again, when no one was watching, when no one believed, when quitting looked easier. Excuses don't pay the bills. Excuses don't build legacies. Excuses don't leave a mark on this world, but effort changes everything. Effort opens doors. Effort earns respect. Effort inspires others to rise. And the truth is, the only regret you'll carry with you in life won't come from the times you failed. It will come from the times you didn't even try. So stop waiting for the perfect timing. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Stop waiting for everything to make sense. The moment you decide to move, the moment you choose to try, that's the moment your life begins to shift. And every time you do, you stack up small victories that lead to something greater. At the end of the day, excuses are heavy. They weigh you down, but trying will set you free. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the strongest, the fastest, or the smartest. You just have to be willing to step forward and give what you've got. Because there is no excuse for not trying. Life has a funny way of throwing obstacles at us. Some of us are born with fewer resources, fewer connections, or heavier burdens than others. Some of us come from broken homes, tough neighborhoods, or situations that feel impossible to escape. And yet, history keeps proving something powerful. Circumstances may shape you, but they do not define you. What defines you is whether or not you're willing to try. Effort matters more than anything else. It's the one currency that every single person has the ability to spend, regardless of where they start. Think about it. The greatest success stories in the world didn't come from people who had everything handed to them on a silver platter. No, they came from people who refused to let their circumstances become their prison. They came from people who had every excuse to quit, every excuse to walk away, every excuse to point fingers at life and say, "It's unfair." But they didn't. They got up, they fought, they pushed, and they tried. And in that trying, they found a way to rise. Excuses are seductive. They make us feel comfortable. They give us reasons to stay in the same place, to avoid risk, to justify why we're not where we want to be. But the truth is this: excuses don't build character, effort does. Excuses don't put food on the table, effort does. Excuses don't change your future, effort does. You may not control your starting line, but you control whether you take that first step. You may not control the storm you're in, but you control whether you keep rowing. You may not control the opportunities that come your way, but you control whether you're prepared when they arrive. Trying is your superpower. It levels the playing field. When you put forth effort, something shifts inside of you. You begin to see yourself differently. You begin to believe, even in small doses, that you're capable of more. That belief starts as a spark, but every time you try, it grows into a fire. And soon, you stop being the person who talks about what could have been. You become the person who lives it, breathes it, owns it. The world doesn't reward the one who says, "I almost tried." The world rewards the one who shows up, even if they fall flat on their face the first 10 times. Because effort, unlike excuses, compounds. Every attempt you make builds on the last one. Every drop of sweat is an investment in your future. Every moment you resist the temptation to give an excuse is a moment you strengthen your resolve. Circumstances can be brutal, yes. Life can be unfair, absolutely, but no excuse. no poverty, no lack of education, no tough childhood, no rejection, no setback. None of it is stronger than the power of trying. Because effort creates momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs, you don't need perfect timing, you don't need perfect resources, you don't need permission from anyone. What you need is the willingness to say, I'm going to try even when it's hard. I'm going to try even when I don't feel ready. I'm going to try even when my circumstances say otherwise. And when you do, you begin to discover something incredible. Effort reshapes circumstances. It takes what was once impossible and carves out a new path. So when life gives you excuses, you look them in the eye and remind yourself, excuses don't win. Effort does. Every time you try, whether you succeed or not, you plant a seed. That seed doesn't always blossom into immediate success. It might take time, it might take patience, and often it takes failure before it blooms. But make no mistake, every attempt shapes you. Every time you put yourself in the game, you're not just chasing a goal. You're building resilience, confidence, and growth that will carry you further than you can imagine. Resilience isn't born in comfort. It's born in the grind, in the setbacks, in the moments when you want to quit but don't. Every failure, every rejection, every closed door is a test, not of your talent, but of your will. And every time you choose to try again, you become stronger. Think of it like working out. You don't build muscle by lifting the weight once. You build it by pushing through the burn, by showing up day after day. The same is true in life. Trying even when it hurts builds the resilience that separates those who dream from those who do. And then there's confidence. A lot of people think confidence comes from success, but true confidence doesn't come from getting everything right. It comes from knowing you can survive what goes wrong. When you've failed and gotten back up, when you've tried and tried again, you stop fearing failure because you know it won't break you. That's when real confidence begins to grow, the kind of confidence no one can take away from you. It's not fragile, it's not fake, it's earned. Failure, as painful as it is one of the greatest teachers life has to offer. Every mistake gives you feedback. Every setback shows you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail thousands of times when inventing the light bulb. He simply found thousands of ways that didn't work. That's the mindset of resilience. That's the mindset of growth. Trying isn't about guaranteeing success. It's about guaranteeing progress. Here's the truth. If you're afraid to fail, you'll never succeed. Because failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. Nobody wakes up at the top of the mountain. They climb, they slip, they fall, they get bruised, they get tired. But they keep climbing. That's the process. That's how resilience is built. Growth comes when you stretch yourself beyond what's comfortable. And the only way to do that is to try. Every time you attempt something new, you push your boundaries a little further. You expand what you thought you were capable of. You discover skills, strengths, and courage you didn't know you had. Growth doesn't happen by staying in the safe zone. It happens when you try, fail, learn, and rise again. When you avoid trying because you fear failure, you deny yourself the chance to grow. You lock yourself in a cage built by excuses. But when you try, you unlock doors you didn't even know existed. You learn to trust yourself. You learn that you can weather the storms. You learn that even when life knocks you down, you've got the strength to stand back up. Resilience, confidence, growth. These are the rewards of trying, and failure. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is your mentor. Failure is the stepping stone that takes you closer to the version of yourself that can't be broken, that can't be shaken, that knows deep down, no matter what happens, I will rise again. So the next time you think about quitting, the next time you hesitate to start because you're afraid of falling flat, remind yourself, every time you try, you win something. Maybe not the outcome you wanted yet, but something even more powerful. You win resilience, you win confidence, you win growth, and those wins are the foundation that will carry you to every victory you've ever dreamed of. The world doesn't remember the excuses. The world remembers the action. That's the truth. When people talk about greatness, about the legends, the innovators, the trailblazers, they don't tell stories about what they almost did. They don't celebrate the I could have, or I would have if only. The world celebrates those who acted, those who stepped forward despite fear, those who tried when every excuse told them not to. Excuses might comfort you in the moment, but they will haunt you in the long run. They create the illusion of safety, but what they really do is chain you to regret. Because deep down, when the dust settles, you'll know you didn't give yourself a chance. And that's the heaviest weight a human being can carry. Not the weight of failure, but the weight of wondering, what if I had just tried? Action, on the other hand, commands respect. Even if you don't succeed the first time, even if you stumble, people respect the courage it takes to step into the arena. Think about it. When you see someone going after their dreams, when you see someone putting themselves out there, even if they fall short, you don't think less of them. You admire them. You think that person has guts. Why? Because action speaks louder than anything else. It says, I was willing to risk, to fail, to learn, to grow. That's how you earn respect, not just from the world, but from yourself. Excuses, though, rob you of that respect. They might sound logical, they might sound justified, but in reality, they only hold you back. Excuses don't move mountains. Excuses don't change lives. Excuses don't put your name in history books. Action does. Even the smallest action, a step forward, a decision to try, a refusal to quit, sets you apart from the millions who choose to hide behind excuses. And here's the real kicker: action builds momentum. The moment you try, no matter how small the effort, you create movement. And movement is powerful because once you're in motion, opportunities start appearing. You start learning faster, meeting the right people, building the right skills. None of that happens if you sit still, convincing yourself you'll start tomorrow. Action, not excuses, is what opens doors. The truth is, you will fail sometimes, you will fall short, you will make mistakes. That's part of the deal, but failure is temporary, regret lasts forever. And when you reach the end of your life, you won't regret the times you tried and stumbled. You'll regret the times you stayed quiet, the times you played it safe, the times you let fear and excuses rob you of the chance to live fully. So choose action over excuses. When your back is against the wall, act. When you feel fear creeping in, act. When doubt tells you you're not ready, act anyway, because action puts you in the fight. Excuses keep you on the sidelines watching life pass by. The world respects the fighter who steps into the ring, not the critic who stands outside pointing fingers, and the only true regret is never stepping forward, never trying, never knowing what you were truly capable of. Don't let your story be written in excuses. Let it be written in action, because at the end of the day, the world doesn't remember what you said you were going to do. The world remembers what you tried to do, what you fought for, what you acted on. So act, don't wait, don't hide, don't excuse, because the only thing worse than failure is never trying at all. At the end of the day, life isn't asking you to be perfect. It isn't asking you to have all the answers. It isn't asking you to never stumble, never fall, never fail. Life is asking you for one thing: to try to give your best, to show up with everything you've got, even when the odds are against you, because there is no excuse for not trying. Excuses are easy, they're everywhere, they'll whisper in your ear every single day, telling you it's not the right time, telling you you're not ready, telling you to wait until tomorrow, but tomorrow isn't promised. And excuses won't get you closer to your dreams. Only effort will, only courage will, only action will. Every step you take matters, every attempt you make matters. Even when you fail, you're building strength. Even when you fall, you're learning how to rise. And one day, all those tries, all those battles, all those moments when you could have quit but didn't, those will add up to something extraordinary. So don't waste another second waiting for the perfect conditions. Don't let excuses rob you of your potential. Don't let fear dictate your story. Step forward, try, give everything you have to the fight in front of you, because whether you win or lose, succeed or stumble, you'll know one thing for sure: you didn't let excuses win. You gave yourself a chance, and in the end, that's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the ordinary from the extraordinary, the ones who watch from the sidelines and the ones who make history. Effort is everything, action is everything, trying is everything. So stand tall, dig deep, and remind yourself every single day: there is no excuse for not trying.